Welcome again to Let's Talk Forensics with Pastor Dan. We're looking today at a quick section on forensics. We're looking at two concepts. The first of the two concepts is called arson. Arson is defined as the criminal act of intentionally setting a fire. So setting a fire itself is not a crime, but doing it in a way that is malicious, trying to cause a problem. That's what arson identifies. Now, some facts about arson. First of all, it causes over $2 billion in property loss every year. Every year, over $2 billion is caused by arson. Only 10% of the arrests in arson are ever convicted. 50% of arsonists are under the age of 20 to 40. 50% of under 20 to 40% are under the age of 15. Now, I personally know this exact statistic. When I was 14, I was sitting in my high school Spanish class, and we saw a bunch of fire trucks run by the school. And the teacher said, "Oh, where are they headed to?" I said, "Well, I live out that way." And the teacher said, "Oh, Dan, your house is on fire." Well, actually, my garage was on fire. A young man who lived around us, was in my brother's class, a year younger than I, thought we were this great, fantastic family, and decided he wanted to make us a little less great, I guess. So there were a bunch of leaves next to the side of our garage, and he set them on fire. So as a result, arsonists being young, that's something I totally do understand. And the reason why the conviction rate is so low is because the arsonist is not around. You light a fire and it's long gone, and there's very little evidence left behind that can tie in. Now, to initiate a fire, what do we need? First of all, you need a fuel source, something that is going to catch fire. Second, you need oxygen source. Without oxygen, fires cannot burn. And then third, you need heat source, something to start the fire up. Once you have those things, you have a fire, and away we go. Now, flammable liquids do not burn. It's not the vapor, the liquid itself. It's only the gas. So the vapor level above that actually catches fire. I had a friend of mine who was a mechanic who enjoyed using this knowledge to scare his customers. He took some gas that he dispirited and let it sit out long enough that it didn't vaporize anymore, so it wouldn't burn. He would use that to clean off his hands. He was a smoker. He put out his cigarettes in the gas cans. You can still get a little bit of smell, but it wasn't flammable. All right. The vapor itself needs to be lit on fire. All right. Now, types of fires can be identified based on the amount of heat. I'm going to list these. You don't have to actually to write them down. I'm not going to test you on them, but it's just good information to know. So crude oil is in 19,650 British thermal units, BTUs, per gallon. So that's why we heat homes with oil. Methane gas is 995 per cubic foot. It's not as warm as crude oil. Wood is 750. If you ever had a wood burning stove, you know that gets quite hot. And this is the one that I use at home. Coal is 12,500 per pound. So there's a lot of heat in coal. All right, now, the chemical reaction that causes burning is called combustion or oxidation. The reaction itself is a hydrocarbon mixture, C something, H something. Gasoline is C8, H18 octane, plus oxygen, always going to produce carbon dioxide and water. The products of the combustion reaction are always going to be carbon dioxide and water. All right. Evidence that points to the possibility of arson. Now, if there is arson, there's specific things we can look for. The heat of the fire. Remember, I said that different material heats differently. So a wood fire of a home If it's hotter than that, there is probably some kind of substance present that made it burn more readily. Second, the speed of the fire. If it burned quick and rapid, that's a sign of arson. We call the POO, the point of origin. We look for where the fire started. If there are multiple points of origin, that's definitely arson. We'll go to that point of origin and see if it seemed like it was a natural, accidental, or deliberate evidence. And then lastly, presence of accelerants, different accelerants used. All right, now what are accelerants? Accelerants are liquid solids or gas material that will burn. So anything we can put down that will catch fire, that's an accelerant. Liquid material are most commonly used to easily ignite in familiarity of you. People know liquids that burn. And the most common one that are used are alcohol and gasoline. All right, now, steps to recover and identify accelerants. First one is to collect a sample. So we got to get the sample we're going to look at. We're going to extract evidence out of it for analysis. They're going to run the analysis and obtain results and see if there's actually an accelerant inside it. So we get a piece of wood, pull the material out of that, and then identify if there's any accelerant in that material that was burned up. When we do a crime scene investigation, there is 5 steps that we use for the investigation. First, the quicker we get to the scene and start investigating, the better, because there's water there. Evidence can be lost pretty easily. Second, speak to all witnesses. Now, why would we want to speak to the witnesses? We see, most evidence is destroyed. I said that before. All right. Why would we want to speak to witnesses? Well, arsonists like to watch. So there's a strong possibility that the evidence we presented would be, he would be there. That's him or her. More likely him. Okay. Whoops. Go back. Then we're going to have obtain all videos. Again, arsonists like to watch, so he might be in their crowd. Locate the point of origin. And then lastly, search for accelerants. If we think there's arson, see the point of origin, see their accelerants in that sample in that way. Now, why do people do arson? First of all, it's a financial gain. What do we mean by financial gain? Insurance fraud. My business is in trouble. I can't afford anymore. Set in a fire, start on fire, start over, all that good stuff. Second, attempt to cover another crime. So, so let's say I do a murder and I want to not get caught, maybe thinking that most of the evidence will burn up. Truth is, it will still identify. Third, Good Samaritan complex. This happened in my area. There were a couple of firefighters that wanted to help, wanted to be good people, and they didn't have enough fires going on, so they started setting them. Unfortunately for them, a homeless man was one of the houses that they burned, and they were tried and convicted of manslaughter. So that they didn't mean to kill him, but he was there, and they did an act that caused it. So Good Samaritan complex in that way. And then lastly, pyromania. What is pyromania? Pyromania is people that like to watch fires, actually get a thrill out of watching flames. Now, evidence collected. First of all, it's got to be in a sealed container. Has to have substance control, be able to compare against other samples, and possible ignition source. Now, what we're usually use is a paint can, because that way it contains everything inside of there. The heat won't melt it like plastic. That's how we collect the sample. All right. Now, the main devices we're going to use to detect different accelerants. We know these. We've seen these before. GC, gas chromatograph. That's going to separate the material. And then mass spectral analyzer. Hold on a second. There it is. Okay. All right. That's going to identify the quantity of the substance actually inside the substance that's there. All right. Now, other forms of analysis performed. The first one is called headspace technique, and the second is called vapor concentration. Headspace technique removes the vapor above a sample. So we take a sample, we suck all the gas above that and then run that through GC and a mass spec. The second type, vapor concentration, we soak the material in a liquid such as heptane or the like, and then we suck that out, run it through, identify the heptane and see if there's anything else in it. That's how the process works. We either get the gas above it or the soaked material and pull the liquid through it. All right, that's it. Hopefully not too bad. Take care. God bless.